Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 Lived in a crack house where all the apartments were studios. Didn't feel like I belonged there because I never knew drug highs or lows. So when my year was up, I started looking for better settlements. Never realizing what I had then. Now I view my past through sentiments. Yeah. The first place I applied to was Highland Commons in West Allis. A newly built place for the mentally ill and built like a palace. Then I found out my caseworkers didn't do what they were supposed to do. So I said, screw it, and I'll find a place myself and get myself into the queue. Yeah. Tried my best in 2014 to move out with my friends, but every time I tried, it always wound up at dead ends. So by the time 2015 came around, I decided enough was enough, and I was gonna search for subsidized housing for myself. Even if it got tough, contacted a worker at Independence First, and he gave me the list I needed at the time. Knew some of the better places would accept me because I didn't commit a crime. But in the end found out most places on the list just took the physically disabled. And I was mentally ill, but physically stable. Yet there were a few places in the suburbs that accepted any disability. Yeah. One in particular was in a wealthy part of town and offered stability. A place called Lake Forest 2 in Oak Creek where the buildings spread apart. My mom would approve of such a place, and moving there would make me feel smart. So I applied in March and spent 2 months waiting around for a call. My best friend, who said he wanted to move with me, moved without me and made me feel small. But I had withdrawn my application and had to submit it again to get back in the queue. It wasn't commitment yet because I hadn't signed anything to make it true. Took a tour of the place by August later that same year. The building supervisor let me in and said that I could live here. But as she explained the place, disappointment was all I could fear. I didn't think it was much better, but moving there was what my mom wanted to hear. Yeah, so I kept my name on the list, but still never got a call. Considered other places up north, but my mom didn't want me there at all. My caseworker told me she had a client living in a place called Greenbrook. It was on the list I got, but I figured the elderly were all they took. I took the bus to the complex right next to my parents' house. Getting an application and filling it out was easy since I had no spouse. By November I was on the waiting list, although I never took a tour. By being on 2 of them, I knew sometime in 2016 I'd be moving for sure. Yeah, mid-January 2016, I got a call from Greenbrook Apartments saying I was accepted. Getting a call that early in the year wasn't at all what I expected. So I told the lady I accepted her offer right there through the phone call. What happened 4 hours later wasn't something I expected at all. The supervisor at Lake Forest 2 called me and told me I was approved. Told her the coincidence of the situation and told her that I couldn't move. Despite not taking a tour of Greenbrook, I knew I was making a huge risk. But once I did, I knew I made the right decision and felt relieved and brisk. So I spent a month packing everything in the boxes my mom gave me. And when moving day finally came, we loaded up the U-Haul and I handed away my key. My Greenbrook apartment was large enough to fit everything I had and more in it. So we brought an old dresser and recliner to the place because they fit. After we unpacked, my parents left and a friend from my old apartment came the same day. Yeah, he was impressed with the housewarming tour. and I knew I was gonna stay. It's been over a decade since that day, and a lot has changed since then. But honestly, I'm perfectly fine if I never move out again. Opportunities like this for me are practically a once-in-a-lifetime ordeal. But I know I made the right decision moving here because of how I feel. Because of that, this ultimately became the best decision I've ever made. And I'll be here, at least, until my cognitive senses start to fade.